Hello, wonderful people. Coming to you today to talk about stories and kind of the traps that we get stuck in when we believe stories about ourselves from the past. This is kind of a heavy topic sometimes. Most of us, as we've talked about in the past, aren't very good at being kind to ourselves. And we've never been very good at being kind to ourselves. And so we've built stories about ourselves that are not kind. What kind of stories am I talking about? They're going to be a little different for everybody. Excuse me. Um, for some of us, it's a story about how we are fat. Some of us, it's a story about how we are dumb or we are incapable or we are not good enough. For some of us, it's a story about how I am an imposter or how I'm better than everyone and they just don't realize it. Right? These are all stories that we might hold about ourselves. And they were created probably in a time of our lives where we were different. Much like the previous video where we talked about kind of behaviors having served a really important purpose in our lives, but maybe not functioning in the same way and serving that same purpose today, they end up holding us back. These stories that we've created about ourselves often do the same thing. They hold us back from becoming who we are because we can't see who we are when we're holding on to that story. And they're a little more pernicious. They're a little harder to get rid of. They're a little harder to see than the behaviors, right? I can see the behavior of my anger or my avoidance of building relationships or my smoking or my eating or my whatever habits, my behaviors that get in my way of what I say I want. But sometimes it's harder to see those stories because they operate a little bit deeper. They operate below our normal intentional thinking mind. But they have a vast impact on our lives and our ability to step into who we really are and who we are becoming. So, to pull the curtain back and give you just, a light example, in my own life, I had a story for a long time about being fat. I was overweight in my mid-20s and would get winded going up a flight of stairs. And I created a story about who I was, and that was a fat person. And that story never changed, even when I lost 75 pounds. Even when I went to the gym a lot and I lifted a lot of weights and I got really strong. And even when people around me told me really explicitly that I wasn't fat, I was still holding on to that story. And it took a long time before I was finally able to look in the mirror and recognize that the guy looking back at me wasn't fat. Right? And that's one small example, and maybe not even the most radical example in my own life. And you've got your stories too. And when you are willing to look at those stories and to question them using the same tools we use for changing our behavior, right? We notice the story showing up. We accept that that's the story that we've had and that it has served a purpose. We investigate what that purpose might have been and why it doesn't serve us now. And when we do those three things, it gives us space to let go of the story. And when we let go of that story, whatever it might be for you, then you are able to live with more joy, more confidence, more happiness, more love for yourself, for others, because you're actually able to see your own capacity, your own power, and you're able to step into really with a lot of confidence who you want to become without the past tying you down and holding you stuck in that trap of who you were when that story was created. And I totally recognize this is some deep work. This is some challenging stuff to be hitting you with in the middle of a weekday while you're trying to get work done. But I think it is really valuable work to be done to change not just your personal life and not just your relationship with yourself, but your entire life and your relationship with everyone. So the invitation today is to spend a little time, maybe just exploring what are the stories that you hold about yourself. Just notice them and accept that they're going on within you. And if you've got the vim and you've got the vigor, do some exploration, do some investigation about why they showed up in your life. and see what happens. See if it builds a little more space for you to become who you are. That's all I've got for you today. I wish you the very best of luck, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you've got any questions. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Have a blessed day.